20. Make sure you guys like, comment.
Let's drive!
Hey beauties, this is your girl Indigo, and I just wanted to read a little sneak peek from my book, Faith, Love, and Life, from Part Love, Establishing Relationships and the Importance of Relationships. I learned that each relationship I had in my 20s lacked a good foundation. Think about it. Before a building can be built, the foundation has to be set. The budget has to be established. The land is selected based on its location and positioning. The builder is selected based on their knowledge. A team is hired based on their experience. Any great builder knows to making a lasting foundation, time, effort, and work is needed for the overall duration of the finished product, which is to pass the building inspection code. When a building is built right, it will withstand everything that's thrown at it because the foundation is unmovable. This is the same thing with God. When your relationship has been built in Him first, then will you understand that your foundation in Him is the importance of all your relationships going forward. Until you know who you are in Him, you will hope to barely pass the inspection code in all your relationships, but fail over time. This was me, failing in each relationship I set out to have because of my desire to be married, but not putting in the work in the start of my relationship foundation. My established relationship came from my parents and seeing their love for each other. I never surveyed the work that went into their marriage. Since my parents never focused on teaching me what a good relationship consists of, I watched their example of what marriage was. I thought all relationships should be like theirs. It wasn't until I turned 30 years old, still crying about not being married, that I realized that all relationships I had been in, I treated the men like husbands instead of boyfriends. Now I understand my parents' marriage is what made me want to get married in the first place, with the added fact that being raised as a church girl majority of my life, I was told to wait until marriage to start a family. Being an impatient person, I didn't know how to wait on God. My longing for love was my motivation, pushing on my parents' rules of waiting until I was 18 years old to date. I was ready to be in love and be loved back by someone other than my family. My thirst for love was not for sex. I just wanted to have the same thing my parents had. As much as I loved my parents and wanted to obey their rules, I just wanted a boyfriend like all the other girls in my school. To be normal, to be light, and not be awkward. I wanted someone of my own to love me like I seen between my parents. I wanted a man like my father to open doors for me and tell me how beautiful I was. I thought this was chivalrous and I needed it. Then it happened. My first sort of boyfriend. One day I was walking to the store. This beautiful young thing in his royal blue shirt and jean shorts bumped into me as he was talking to his friends. I recognized some of the boys he was with from school, but I never seen this butterscotch boy before. We exchanged apologies. As I walked away, a cool breeze of cool water cologne and winter fresh gum followed me home. I found myself going to the store more and more that week, just to have the chance to bump into this butterscotch thing. By the end of the week, I seen him again. This time visiting one of my friends who happened to live in the same apartment building as he. He seen me and came down to hang with us. That day, I learned that I was a risk taker. I was willing to disobey all the rules just to be with Dre, which was his name. I was 15 years old, but I was falling in love. Dre was about 6 foot, Jamaican. He was 16 years old, and what got me was he was a drummer at his father's church, which meant he was a church boy. Every chance I could get out the house, I spent hanging with my friends, just so I could hang with Dre. The more he smiled, the more I thought, he's the one. I found him. I mean, Dre was sweet, kind, good looking. He was in church. But I never asked if he loved God. I never knew if he was just going to church because his parents was making him. I just seen wedding bells. Then one day my parents went to Monday night service and I invited Dre over. It was the first time he was over to the house without anybody there. I thank God that he made me a scaredy cat of him and my parents, because while our lips were locked, Dre felt it was time to go further in our little secret undefined relationship. I mean, he knew that I couldn't be his girlfriend because of my parents' rule, but I knew and I felt we both belonged to each other. Dre, on the other hand, was ready for sex. He asked if I loved him, and of course I told him yes. But I knew in my heart I wanted to wait for marriage. I didn't want to get pregnant, and that was the first thought that came to my mind. Everyone in my family warned me about sex before marriage because they didn't want the generational curse of teenage motherhood falling on me. I was warned at least once a week. I asked Dre if we could keep it slow. I told him that I was waiting until marriage, and that didn't go too well. The next thing I knew, he was standing up and walking out of the house. I didn't know what I did wrong, other than to express that I loved him and wanted to wait. I felt I treated him well. I did everything he asked and expected of me, except have sex with him. The next day, I was busted because my next door neighbor outed me to my dad. It would be a whole year before my parents would let me stay at home by myself. But it didn't matter because later that week I found out that I was supposedly dumped when I seen Dre with another girl. I learned an important lesson from that fake relationship, that men like the wifey material girl. They like the wife material girl. She's the one that can be taken home to the parents, that can be around their friends, but more importantly, they also like the girl who will give it up. My relationship foundation was formed with cracks, built on the cheapest material of love. I didn't realize that I needed God. I wasn't in that place yet. I just wanted a boo thing to hold hands with and to occasionally sneak a kiss or two. The good thing about God is that His mercy surrounds us. Even though I wasn't ready to give Him my all, God didn't make me feel less than how I felt about myself. The importance of relationships are the setup for the outcome that we want. I wanted to be married, but the foundation of all my relationships, except the one I have with my husband, was built on being what each of the guys wanted me to become. I had no foundation in these relationships. I never really took the time out to let them know who I was because I was too busy showing them why I was wife material. I seen what a wife was for my mother. I seen how she served my father. She was in a partnership with him. I seen my mother being a mother to her children. What I missed was the part where she surrendered all to God. I seen her praying. I just didn't know all the time she was in her room that she was seeking God to be a better person. Praying to God to be a better daughter to Him. Praying that God will make her submissive to His will and to my father as the head of the household. I missed the development phase between her worship with God, not just praying to be what He was calling her to be, but for His love to reach every space in her being. I skipped her foundation building and jumped ahead to the relationship part of love and didn't understand that she was being renewed in her walk with God. First, to have the best relationship she could with her husband, her children, and most importantly, God. Thank you guys for taking the time to listen to an excerpt from Part Love, Establishing Relationships, the Importance of Relationships, from the book Faith, Love, and Life by Indigo Metellus.